Hi, this is Susan Stegall with Luna Vista Studio, and you can see I have a bunch of little cute character ducks here, and we're going to be learning how to make our own custom duck out of Sculpey. This is the original Sculpey. It comes in a white package like this, and it takes about a third of a package to make your duck. If it's going to be like have a lot of extra details on it, then you will need maybe a little more clay. This is the one that I had in my Google slideshow. It's super detailed, so I'm not going to make one that detailed for my tutorial video. But I find getting like reference images for your character really helps, and deciding what's going to be painted on details and what's going to be sculpted on. And if you need slabs, like this is a really like a rolled piece, and these are coils. So there's all kinds of ways you can add details. And also just taking a second to look at the basic structure of a rubber duck. And the tail is barely a little upturned. The wings, they're not like super deep. And the beak. There's several different ways beaks are sculpted too. Sometimes they're open, sometimes they're closed. So you get to make all those little decisions about how you want your duck to be. And the heads are large in proportion to the body on these character ducks, and that helps to get a little bit more of the detail. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Besides your foil, besides your Sculpey, you're going to need some foil, and you'll need a sheet that is 16 inches long and a sheet that is like 18 inches long. One is for the head and one is for the body. Hi, this is Miss Stegall, and today we're going to talk about making character ducks. And you can see here, I have several different ducks. Some of them, the duck is the character. Others, the duck is wearing a costume. So you have to decide what style you want to make. And I'm going to give you a demo on how to get the basic duck shape and add a few little details. Okay, so I've got two different size pieces of foil, a bigger one for the body and a smaller one for the face, the head. So I'm just going to crumple with intention of making a teardrop shape for that body. And you can really condense foil, so keep that in mind. You don't have to like overly condense it. And the little bodies are kind of this teardrop shape. This one has a little tail added on, and then like the traditional one's just a little upturned. So you don't have to shape a tail out of this. You're gonna add that on with clay. Once you get the basic kind of shape done out of foil, I like to press it on the table and tap it so that it gets a flat spot on the bottom so that it'll sit. And just work with that shape until you got it the way you want it. And it's okay for it to be a little lumpy, bumpy, because it'll give something for the clay to hang on to. And then the head, so this head's kind of round like a ball. These heads are more like taller, and they have cute little cheeks. So they're more like a tapered, like oval shape. So you take your ball or your foil, and you're just gonna ball it up and think about whether you want the ball shape or more of like an oval shape. And I'm going for more of like an oval shape for this one. You can roll it on the table if that helps, because it can kind of hurt your hands a little bit when you're condensing the foil. And then when you get it the way you want it, check the size. And you are going to be adding some clay onto this, so it'll get a little bit bigger. So you're going to be using about 1/3 of a package of your clay, but it's very like crumbly when you first open it. So you want to condition that clay. And you're going to be covering the body and head separately. So you just want to like roll it around and get it nice and squishy. And there's different ways you can cover this, but I find once you get it squishy, if you'll just like press it on and kind of smooth it down, that has worked the best for me. And you can like smooth the connections together. There's the body. So I went and got my silicone Sculpey mat. This thing is awesome. So now we're going to cover the head. And again, first just going to condition that clay. You can roll it around in your hands, just squish it around, and then start covering the head. So there's the head, and I am going to make this where the neck connection is, right there. So we'll do X marks the spot. Okay, whenever I go to put the head on the body, I want to use a piece of Sculpey to like glue it together. So I have to get it really warm by rolling it, unrolling it around in my hand until it is super squishy. So super squishy. And then I put that on the body, the squishy stuff, and make sure I've got the front of my face facing forward. And then, let's see, we'll do that. Push it down. So I'm squeezing really tight. So it's kind of oozing out, but that way it really compressed. And now I'm going to go back and put some of it, smushing it to the head and some of it smushing towards the body. And if you want to redefine the neck a little bit, you can always use little sculpting tools to smooth it out, or you can just use your finger. Okay, so now I've got the body and the head connected. So now I'm going to give it its little tail. Get it smoothed out like as best you can at this stage. The little tail, it's, as I pointed out earlier, there's like a little up, like this one has like 3 little balls basically for the tail. This one just has a little upturn. Mermaid has an actual mermaid tail. So depending on what your character is how you want to do the tail. So just for a simple little tail though, I'm just going to get a little bit of clay, get it nice and mushy, and just do a little bitty upturn. So this is just a little basic tail. It's very subtle. Another step that I like to do is on the face. I like how these ducks have little cheeks. So if you want to make little cheeks, you can add some balls of clay. So to get kind of even balls of clay, I roll one ball and then take a little cutting tool and cut that one in half so they're somewhat even. And then I can roll those into little balls and look at the face and determine where I want those cheeks. So do a cheek there and a cheek there. And I'm just gonna mush them on there. Lots of smushing and mushing with polymer clay. I love Sculpey. Okay, now I have the wings to add on and the beak. And this is the point where it starts getting where you have to watch to make sure you don't smush the things that you've been putting effort into making. So you can either do the beak or the wings next. I'm going to do the wings, and I'm going to start them the same way I did the cheeks by making a ball, rolling a ball. You can also like flatten out the ball a little bit to make it a tube and guesstimate the center of that as well. So that you can also do that to make your wings. Just whatever trick works best for you for getting even wings. On these ducks, there's this one's got like 3 little lines. This one's got 2. Again, it's whatever you want to do. On my duck here, they're just pretty like flat. So it's really up to you. You can kind of get them shaped a little bit before you put them on to keep them a little even. And I know they're thicker than what's on a regular rubber duck, but that's okay. I'm just going to get those placed on there. It's kind of on this one, it's almost like in the center. So this is kind of in the center too. And then I'm going to put them in the same place over here. So you may have to turn your duck in different directions to make sure that you're getting it somewhat symmetrical. So just look around. See how now I can tell like, whoops, something's off. Here I'm just using some different tools to help sculpt those wings out. I'm pushing in to make the little divots and then like lightly rounding them out. So now I've got wings and the neck. I am going to add a little beak. And to help me with this, I am going to draw a center line. So let's see here, I'll use this. I'm just going to, just like whenever you map out a face, I'm just kind of drawing it in half and drawing where my eyes are going to be. And who knows, I might add hair to it or something like that. So this is just like a guide to help me with placement. On the ducks, the beaks are pretty low on their face. So you're going to get another teardrop shape. So rolling it up. And you can get this little kind of candy corn, triangular, teardroppy shape going on, and push it against the face, and it's in between where I did the middle line and the bottom. So get that squished on there, and beaks tend to trick people. Like they want to make them pointy or really thin, and you don't want to make it really thin because then it'll just snap off. So the trick is to get it smushed on there really good, and then you can go back and like adjust the shape. I like to give it a little squeeze like right here to give it like a ridge to its nose. Kind of that went up just a little bit. And you can also think about whether you want to give it an open mouth or a closed mouth. You can always take a separate little piece of clay if you want it to be open and make like a little open beak. Or you can just take your tool and make a line for the beak. And I'm going to kind of get that little duck bill look at the end. So instead of it being a bird beak, it's for sure, well, a duck is a bird, but it's for sure a duck beak. Okay. So it's okay that it's a little thick. I think it looks cute. So it's not a real rubber duck. Like polymer clay is more delicate than rubber. So you don't want to have like super thin breakable pieces. If you want to make it smile, you can always like give it a little smile up here. So it's more of a little smiling duck. You can do like the little ridge going down like that so it looks more like it's smiling. Or you could even like come back and like open its mouth just a little bit too. So right now I'm just kind of playing with it to show y'all how easy it is to sculpt with Sculpey. There we go. So well, that's kind of cute. Now, if I was like doing this for realsy, I would spend a long time fiddling with everything. But I'm not going to do that right now. So once you get your beak on there, so you've got wings, and of course everything's getting squished as you work on one side, another side's getting squished, which is frustrating, but just part of it. If you find that your duck's wanting to fall over, just tap it so you get a nice flat area for it to sit on so it's not falling over. So now I've got like this flat area. So usually I go back and super refine all the little lumps and bumps. So I am gonna do that so this does not drive me crazy because I want it to look good. And I was thinking about a character I could do that was like simple enough to show y'all some tricks, but not like overly detailed. So the eyes, some people like to put them on because they feel like it's easier to have eyes that you squish on and get those even rather than trying to paint them on. But I am going to paint them on. So I'm just gonna leave it without eyes. You can use dotting tools to help whenever you put your eyeballs on to help, you know, there's different tricks for getting even looking eyes. So I'm just going back and refining a little bit of the details. And this is the part that you will spend a long time on, just refining this shape. getting a little bit better. It's not perfection, but that is okay. I'm going to now add, I've decided to make it a kitty cat. So I'm gonna take some little a little bit of clay, roll it up, and I can do the same thing I did earlier where I rolled like a little tube. I can also like kind of mush them kind of into like two triangular ends like that. So I've got like a triangle and a triangle, and then cut that in half. So then I can put my little ears on here. It's already looking like a little kitty cat. Okay. And once you're satisfied with your ears, I am going to paint the eyes on, so I'm not worried about that. But I am worried about the tail because yes, it's got kitty ears, but it's got a duck tail. There are some things that you need to keep so that it looks like a rubber duck. It has to have a beak. It needs wings. The tail really helps, but as you saw with the Little Mermaid, it has a tail and you can still tell it was a rubber duck. They're such an iconic shape that you can get away with a lot. Okay, so now I've got the kitty ears on, and at this point I could add a tail to the back, or I could leave it like a little duck tail. I could add like a little bow to the front. So if I want to give it like a little collar, I can just do like one little bow here and a little triangle next to it. Oop. And then the little ball in the center. So now it's got a little bow tie, and you can always go back and add like the little things for the bows. Okay. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna leave it with a ducky tail. I've got some rubbing alcohol and I'm going to put that into a small container. And I can go to one of these areas that's got lots of like little marks. And if I'm having a hard time like smoothing it out with my finger, I can get a paintbrush with just a little bit of alcohol on it and smooth that down with alcohol. I have a little bit of old green in my paintbrush, so the alcohol is making that come out. But I can use my finger, I can use the brush, and just smooth it down like that, and it starts getting super smooth. Here I am just refining it more and more. When you have it the way that you want it, you'll put it in the oven for 25 minutes at 275 degrees. So at the end I decided to go back and add a little tail after all. But I forgot to mention, if you don't want it to be smooth, you can go and you can add, like use all different kinds of tools to add texture instead of it being just a super smooth surface. So then you can intentionally have like a super textured surface. It is up to you. And if you don't like it, then you can go back with your alcohol and just smooth it out, or no alcohol. Just play around with it. It's such a forgiving material. It's easy to go back and forth and make changes. Okay. There's my duck, ready to go in the oven and cook. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy making your character duck or teaching your students how to. Please check out my resources on Teachers Pay Teachers.